2 years ago, Zimbabweans were stunned when the then President Robert Mugabe revealed during a television interview that diamonds worth more than $15 billion had been looted in the country's eastern mining area of Marange. Mugabe said at the time that we have not received much from the diamond industry at all. I don't think we've exceeded $2 billion, yet we believe that more than $15 billion had been earned. Well, in a dramatic about turn last week, the former president is now claiming that the missing $15 billion was an urban legend and that had no factual basis. In the meantime, Zimbabwe has started an inquiry into the alleged missing diamonds, and the chairperson of the Mines and Energy Portfolio Committee responsible for the inquiry is MP Temba Mliswa. He joins us now in our studio to tell us a little bit more. Thanks so much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, President Mugabe at first said 15 billion went missing, and then last week he says it's an urban legend. What is it?
I think it must be understood that as Parliament, our role is oversight on every government parastatal, which is there at every level. So we are more or less discharging our duties, and in discharging our duties from a mine's perspective is to understand what happened in the diamond sector. And of course you cannot rule out the 15 billion which the former president mentioned, and it's only proper that we do a check and balance in terms of that, because the diamond sector was critical in the revenue of the country. As a result, we've gone through the Zimbabwe Mining Development Corporation, who are responsible for mining on behalf of government, together with the joint partners, to find out how much they mined, together with the ZRP police as well, together with the army, together with the military, the state security, who are also given these concessions so that they can account. And the Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, MMCZ, is responsible for the marketing. So it's important for us to ask them, in terms of the marketing, how much did they market? Does that go hand in hand with what was mined? The KPC too, they have a record of that.
All right. So how far what sort of testimonies have come through already so far in the inquiry? What revelations have come through?
I think it's pretty clear that as Parliament we will certainly be able to give recommendations at the end, but so far certainly you could see that there's so much that was happening which was not accounted for, and I think in the end we are able to establish that. But you've got to understand the former president cannot be exonerated from this, because he was the chief executive officer of the country, and that came from him, and it is important for him to appear before us. Our committee has recommended that he appears before us. Yes, he could be saying this now, but it's important for us so that we bring closure to this. We don't want a situation, because this has also swelled a lot of people in the process. But when we bring this to closure, then it will be important. So he must appear before us under oath and say what he's saying now, that at no point did I say this, I was joking. As long as he does not say that, he is accountable to the people of Zimbabwe.
If he refuses, can you subpoena him? Are there legal consequences for him if he refuses to cooperate with your inquiry?
You've got to understand that Parliament is invested with a lot of powers. It can even send you to prison. Yes, 3 times we write him. If it does not appear, then we have to summon him at the end of the day. And he's a man, I think, who really respects the law, the rule of law. So we don't expect him to say no. On Friday, we've got the Honorable Vice President Kembo Mhadi, who has agreed to appear before us, because when he was former Minister of Home Affairs too were given a mining concession. We've done that with former Minister of Defense Sekeramai, who's appeared before us, and former Minister of State Security Didmus Mtasa. They've come before, and they've followed that from a constitutional point of view, which is clear for our leaders.
How far can you take this? Because you've already alluded that state security forces may have been involved, and Global Witness and other investigations are suggesting that they very much were beneficiaries. In fact, the Central Intelligence Agency had 50% shares in a diamond company. How can that be? Will you be allowed to take this all the way, especially given that there's army people now actually running government?
But the very same army has appeared before us, and I think it's from a corporate governance point of view. We are not witch hunting. We work with institutions, and I think it is the institution you are working with. And yes, it was within their rights to say that they were given these concessions because of a tough economic situation at the time, that they needed to generate their own money. But there's also the aspect of accountability. Did they generate the money in a proper way, which is accountable? And as Parliament, we don't care whether you're the army, we don't care whether you're the police. You are still accountable to to the people of Zimbabwe through the Parliament of Zimbabwe.
I think the finance minister alluded to this. He said that it's not possible for Zimbabwe to have produced that much diamonds. Has some kind of reasonableness test been done just to assert whether 15 billion could possibly have disappeared?
This is why the inquiry is there, to ascertain that could that have been done. I think it was also important for the Minister of Finance to then be able to correct the former president then at the time, that the figures that he's giving are wrong. But certainly he's also alluding to the fact that I was misinformed. Whoever misinformed him, what then happened to them? So you cannot then be now trying to shift goalposts because you're out of office or the former president is out of office. We expect ministers to correct the president at the time when he's office to say, as Minister of Finance, this is impossible and I'm correcting the president in that effect. He said through the cabinet, and cabinet is responsible for policy implementation, and these issues are discussed at cabinet level. Why did they not raise the red flag at that point?
All right, unfortunately we've run out of time, but hopefully we'll be able to get you back in studio again in the future just to give us an outcome of your inquiry, which is ongoing. Chairperson of Mines and Energy Portfolio Committee in Zimbabwe, Temba Mliswa MP. Thank you very much indeed for your time, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, okay, so that's where we're going to leave it for the time being. But Kirshni, you have other issues to look at as well.